Hello to all of you unconventional conventionists out there. So this week, we are very excited to be joined on air by the incredibly talented former director for the Michigan Rocky Horror Preservation Society, that's MERPS for all of you out there, and Indecent Exposure, Becky Milanio. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
Hi. Nice to see you guys, or talk to you.
Aw, it's great to talk to you. We're so excited to have you here on the show.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, Becky, before our full-length episode drops, we're going to talk to you about all kinds of stuff, costuming, leadership, your time in the community. We thought it might be fun to give our listeners a chance to get to know you a little bit, so we came up with a little Q&A sesh. Are you ready to get grilled?
Absolutely, yes. Let's do this.
All right, Becky, first question we ask everybody. So, we'd love to hear your Rocky Horror origin story. How did you first get involved with the Shadowcasting community? How'd you become leadership? Just run it down for us.
1981, I had the opportunity to go to see this weird movie called the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Had no idea what to expect, and I kept going over and over. Clearly, I liked it. My seventh time in, they're like, come back next week, be a Transylvanian, and you can time warp with us. So the following week, I go traipsing down there to talk to the cast leader. She looked at me and said, she'll do. No clue what that meant. I got pulled backstage, thrown into a magenta dress with 3 buttons, stabbed in the eye with black liquid eyeliner, and performed that night. A few months later, I joined cast, and Indecent Exposure became my cast until we retired in 1995. I've played every part in the film except for Janet, but Columbia is my favorite. And during that time, I also became director of IE. I remained active in the community for a long time, attending different conventions and judging costume contests. In 2013, I was lucky enough to become the director of the Michigan Rocky Horror Preservation Society, MERPS. In 2021, I stepped down as director, reincorporated MERPS as a nonprofit organization, and I'm currently serving as its chief operating officer, and I'm a member of its board of directors. And I make a few costumes here and there. Right? I'm also currently the chief theme night coordinator for Barely Legal in the Bay Area.
Wow, now that is a resume. And you didn't even put the best stuff on there. You just got an Atlas Award from the community. You're in Creatures of the Night 2, Sal Piro's book. I mean, you've just been around this community for so long, and we are just so happy to have you on the show today.
I've been around the block a few times.
But before we get to all of the, the modern day stuff, the Creatures of the Night 2, super, super current, could we go back to, your roots? We want to hear about your first experience seeing a Shadowcast performance. What drew you in and made you decide that this is what you wanted to do with your weekends forever?
It feels like forever. Honestly, it was the people. It was the entire Rocky Horror community at the UC Theater. Being just immersed, a complete, back in the old days, this immersive experiences didn't really exist. And this was an opportunity to become completely immersed. And it was just the ability to have a wide variety of people to hang out with and become friends with and build these lifelong friendships. That's what keeps you going back to Rocky time after time again, is the ability to have wonderful friendships that last forever.
Absolutely. I know that that's the reason that I'm in the community, and a lot of people share that same opinion that, Rocky's here is a thing we love, but it's the people that keep us coming back.
Absolutely.
All right, so you're on a cast, you've been blinded by liquid eyeliner, you are destined for more than just being a regular cast member and getting poked in the eyes backstage. You work your way up the Rocky ladder. Eventually, you're a cast leader getting poked in the eyes backstage. So can you tell us about that transition?
Really, the transition itself was really natural. It really was natural. It was more challenging last year, transitioning from not being a director, because when you've been a director since the 1900s, right?
Yeah.
No longer being a director is a little bit more challenging, because you want to jump out during rehearsal and help, and you let the current directors run with that. So it's been a a good transition to still be part of leadership and still be able to contribute.
Yeah, that's great. A bit of, oh, shoot, I got to take my hands off the wheel and let it go, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, wow. That must be just daunting. I can't even fathom. Jeez. But yeah, no, it's good for the current leader to have somebody who's so knowledgeable there in their corner for them, like to know that you're around if they need help or guidance or support. That's got to be really reassuring.
The current board of directors, they're a great group of people. I've been incredibly fortunate to be able to have two really solid boards of directors, both with Indecent Exposure and MERPS. And this latest iteration, we make a fantastic team.
That's great. When you got people that you can work with that can all have the same kind of vision, I mean, everybody's not going to agree all the time, but when you work through problems, it's just so satisfying to get people on stage and put on a good show.
Absolutely, yes. Whether it's a theme night or a regular show.
For sure.
Okay, Becky, last up here, we would love for you to tell us about the best way that being a part of the Rocky Horror community has affected your real life.
I was hard-ass director with Indecent Exposure. Give me your character analysis. I gave them notes after every meeting until like 4 a.m. You stepped backwards instead of forwards. You used your left hand instead of your right hand. Very, very particular with them. There's a saying that everything comes back to you, and it's incredibly true. In 2009, I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. And during those times, when I felt like giving up and stopping either my chemotherapy or my radiation treatments, it was Indecent Exposure that kicked my ass and gave me the strength, encouragement, and love to be able to make it through those difficult times. Without them, I know that I would not be here today. And then, in just equally in 2013, when Faith picked up the phone and said, I'm starting a cast in Michigan. Can you come by rehearsal and give us some tips and tricks? And I said, sure. And I showed up and I never left. I mean, Faith wanted to start a cast. And what she did is she created a family. So I've been incredibly lucky to have this happen twice.
Wow. I mean, that's both a terrifying and great story, I mean, that's the kind of thing that we all look for in the Rocky community, is people that support us not only on stage but off, and give us all of that love and support, and just, it really is a family. And that's why we're all here.
It's what we were saying, you come for the show and you stay for the people.
You do.
Well, Becky, thank you so much for letting us grill you on air. We really loved just our chat and getting to know you, and we can't wait to have you on this week's episode. Before we head out, though, is your cast, or any of your cast, doing anything like super cool coming up soon that you'd like to tell all of our listeners about?
September 24th is our very first Pirates Night, which is going to be really exciting. We have a show with Barry Bostwick coming up in October at Flint's Capitol Theater. And in early November, our Veterans Day show, also known as the Rocky Horror Hamilton Show, returns. As always, at the UC Theater on Halloween and Veterans Day with the cast of Barely Legal. All great shows not to be missed.
That's love it.
That's so exciting.
Make us want to come out to the West Coast and see some of this.
And of course, if any of our listeners want to check out any of these upcoming performances with MERPS or Barely Legal, we strongly encourage you to check them out. We will have them all linked for you in our show notes. And Becky, thank you again so much for joining us. We're really looking forward to getting to chat even more with you on our next episode.
Thank you both so much.
If you want to hear more from Becky and us, be sure to tune into this week's episode of Rocky Talkie Podcast, where you'll hear all the latest news and updates from the Rocky Horror community.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye!
Bye!